Blackbeard probably has one of the most bloodthirsty, notorious legends or folklore associated with him than any of the other pirates. He operated in and around the Caribbean, over in the Eastern Caribbean for a number of months, and then he pretty much disappears off the radar.
And a team of North Carolina underwater archaeologists is trying to find out if he lost his ship just over a mile from Beaufort Inlet, North Carolina. Blackbeard terrorized the Caribbean in the early 1700s, building his reputation as a cutthroat and a killer.
And it was at this point that Blackbeard essentially reached the epitome of his career, the height of his career. He had 4 ships under his command and anywhere from 300 to 400 pirates.
In 1717, he captured a French slaver named the Concorde before blockading Charleston, South Carolina. After extracting a ransom from the citizens of Charleston, he intentionally ran his flagship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, aground in 1718 and marooned half his crew. He then escaped to Ocracoke, North Carolina, where he died in a fierce battle 6 months later. The hard part for scientists is proving whether or not the shipwreck belonged to the infamous pirate Blackbeard.
But looking at the outline of the French frigate overlaid on the site area, some of the rigging elements, the bilge strainers corresponds very well to where the masts would have been.
Onion bottles used for storing wine, navigational and medical instruments, and glassware dated before 1718 all positively point to this being Blackbeard's ship. And then there are the court depositions from his crew before some were hanged for pirating, all pointing to Beaufort Inlet as the final resting place for his ship.
What do you think it is? You really want to know? Yes. I think it's a piss-tail tube. And what's that? Well, it was part of the sanitary arrangements on the ship, part of the head. This may have been one back towards the captain's cabin.
And that's important because it matches a similar item found on another French slave ship, the Henrietta Marie, and helps date this wreck to Blackbeard's time period. Queen Anne's Revenge was carrying as many as 40 cannons, and the 24 guns found so far indicate that a pirate ship may lie here.
It's not just the objects that are coming up, it's what the objects can tell us.
And the guns are important. Several carry a date and hopefully a maker's mark that could pinpoint where they were made. And the team hopes the gun that's about to surface will provide more information.
Over 20.
You still have space.
But just how do you extract information from a shipwreck site that's been buried for nearly 300 years? It takes hard work and some interesting technology.
It's an OTS mask. It has a button here where you can talk. And this is the regulator. It's a full face mask. And this is like a little radio.
The goal this year is to recover at least 2 of the cannons from the site.
When you start recovering larger objects like cannon, you get a pitching deck on the surface. It's not too bad to work with on the bottom, but it can be pretty devastating and dangerous on the surface when you're trying to do a safe recovery.
We're going to test our winch.
Before the guns are lifted, a load test with a dynamometer is in order.
It's slow. Like Johnny was saying, we're going to need a lot of control points on the cannon. So I think we got them.
After the wreck was discovered in 1996, scientists needed to survey the site to determine its boundaries and its historical significance. But they faced a big problem. Most of the wreck is hidden almost under 4 feet of sand.
All right, I'm going to pull her back about 2.5 feet off.
Copy that.
Using a gradiometer, which detects local changes in the Earth's magnetic field, the team is able to develop a magnetic map of the site and pinpoint hidden artifacts.
What this allows us to do is actually have a sample from each one of these areas, or actually 2 samples, that we can start statistically analyzing the site. Perhaps we'll be able to identify lower hold artifacts, things that were way down in the bilge, as opposed to artifacts up here that would have been tumbled off the deck.
In order to get to the artifacts, the archaeologists use a large induction dredge.
It's like using an underwater vacuum cleaner to remove the sand and mud off the artifacts.
And it can take hours to suck up the sand in each test area. On the seafloor, it isn't high tech, but old tech that gets the job done. Working in zero visibility at times, each encrusted object, or EO, has to be carefully mapped and measured using a pencil, slate, and a piece of mylar.
The shipwreck as it survives on the seabed and the artifacts that come up from it, of which we only get a few, and they're like a little view through a keyhole into maybe what was going on the whole shipwrecks.
Finally, each artifact is tagged and sent to the surface, where conservators immediately record its size and location. Each concretion is then placed in a container filled with water for transport and later conservation at the lab. These objects may not look like much, but they have concealed navigational instruments, lead shot, and even animal bones. For the crew aboard the RV Martek, it's a special moment when artifacts surface. The crew uses giant balloons called lift bags to rig the cannon for lifting.
Okay, let's get some air in them and see what we got. Okay, topside, she's loose. We're loose, Julep, it's going.
And on a warm day recently, one of the newly discovered 800-pound guns surfaces.
The theory, I think, still holds that we believe this is the Queen Anne's Revenge.
You stop and you realize that you're the first person in close to 300 years that's seen this object or touched this object.